Okay, so new weekly forecast. Let's take a look at what I'm potentially looking at. So obviously, last week, we'll start with the dollar as always. Last week, we had the latest PCE numbers, which is of course the Federal Reserve's favorite measure of inflation, and it came in weaker. We dropped from 2.5% to 2.2%. So obviously, inflation in the US continues to decline. Hence why dollar has been dropping, just like how it fell with the rate cut. The decline and the weakness in the US economy right now just seems to be pushing dollar quite heavy. So I'm expecting dollar to continue running lower as nothing has changed in structure. So let's just start on the monthly time frame. The monthly is going to close in about a day. So Monday is likely a day to not trade, just let the monthly candle close. But once that closes, we likely have a clean run into this low over here. So ideally, I'm looking for dollar sells into this low over here. And if you go on the weekly, again, the candle on the weekly just closed below this quote-unquote support level. So it's got quite a nice run lower as well. So it's quite evident that we're in a bearish structure. So following the trend makes the most sense. Now, if we look on the daily, PA has been a bit choppy since last FOMC and obviously the rate cut decision, but price is still clearly trending downwards. Very, very clear. So ideally, sales would be the better alternative. If you look on the 12-hour, obviously on Friday just gone, we took out these lows, bounced a bit, but I don't think this would do much. I think likely, if you just drop into the hourly as well, I think likely after we filled, should I say, this gap over here on the 1 hour, obviously, as you can see, came in, reacted, swept it, pushed lower, price held, and then dropped again. We keep making new lows. I do feel that the dollar is quite weak, so likely we do pull something like this where we run up higher and then continue lower, something like that. That's the most likely scenario in my view. So I'm bearish dollar. Of course, that will be then the inverse for Euro USD. So start on the monthly. Again, 1 day to the monthly candle will close. If it closes above the previous monthly buy-side liquidity, we will likely continue running higher into this higher over here. It's quite a clear draw on liquidity. Last week and the previous week closed above this previous high here, so there is a greater chance that we will continue rising higher as well. So I'm looking for EU buys, ideally from this region over here. So something like this where we pull back into here and then run up higher. That's a general play that I'm looking for on EU, because again, the structure hasn't changed. We are bullish. We are in a very evidently bullish structure. The trend is your friend. You ideally don't want to be going against the trend, just to give yourself the higher chance of being on side in line with the market. Again, even if you're in line with the market, you can still lose. Trades are random. It's just a game. However, giving yourself the best chance is the best thing that you can do in any trade that you take. So ideally, for me personally, myself, I'm looking for EU buys coming into the new week from this area here. We can see a cluster of lows have been formed. So ideally, somewhere in here to bounce and then run higher. Of course, I won't give my actual entry. I will obviously take the trade throughout the week, but I will let my community know when I take it. But for now, general bias is EU pull lower and then continue higher like this. Now, if we also then look at GU, similar stance, clear bullish trend. Again, I'm looking for a pullback with a continuation higher as well. So if we look at the 12-hour, we've got a previous down close candle where price pushed away from. So obviously that is now an area of interest. So ideally, again, something like this for continuing higher is the bias. Pound has been more bullish than EU, so you could get better buys on pound if you wish, but that's the general consensus there as well. So a pullback into one higher, very simple, nothing too complicated as that. Then we look at UJ. So UJ is very interesting right now. So I've been buying UJ, and my group knows I've been buying UJ since around here, post FOMC when they cut. So I was basically playing the inverse where dollar is meant to drop when rates are cut, but I bought it at key lows, and then that paid off quite nicely. But now, after taking out these highs and this daily FVG here as well, as you can see, very, very clean reaction, pushed away from it. We are now likely breaking structure and likely due to push lower as well. As dollar itself is bearish, as we've seen with DXY, UJ is likely going to also turn bearish as well, as we're seeing here. So ideally, I'm looking for sells on UJ. I'm not clear on where exactly just yet, but ideally somewhere in this large gap over here. So something like pull up into here and then drop lower is something that I'm looking for. So that's the ideal. And if we even then match that with JPY that has come to these lows, you see the clean reaction from these lows, taking it, aggressive push higher, like that. Now we're now forming a new bullish structure. So JPY is going long, you're gonna go short UJ. Simple. Entries, I'll see how the week plays out and when it's best to enter, but for now I'd rather be selling UJ. GJ is also breaking structure. So this aggressive one came from Japan's new presidential election that occurred, I believe it was on Friday, and it didn't go as the market anticipated, so price ran lower. GJ is looking as it's reacting from these highs. However, I would rather be selling UJ than GJ, because if the pound is bullish, as we are expecting, and the yen is also bullish, your sells, of course, you can get into sells here and it would work out, but you are better off using the asset that is weaker. And in this case, it would be dollar. Dollar is weaker than pound right now. So if you want to make the most out of that, you would rather sell USD JPY rather than fight the trend and sell GJ. It's just a little nuance with cross pairs and correlations, but that's like a little tip on my part. So yeah, that's GJ there. If we then look at gold, I am looking for buys on gold. So I've already shared this with my group as well. Quite simple. I'm looking for buys to come into here, push up and then one higher. US 30, nothing is clear just yet. Although we are bullish, I would rather see price pull lower before continuing higher as well. At the week ended, we took large wick, small body candle closure, likely that we run lower into lows before continuing higher. But again, nothing is too clear, so I'll just be a bit more patient and see how that plays out in itself. And then I'm also looking at crude oil. So oil here, bearish weekly candle closure, clean reaction from the daily highs swept, pushed aggressively, area of interest, quite simple trade here, one up into here to one lower. That's the general bias and trend for there. So with those trades, it's just general forecast, general ideas where I think that it will go. For entries, exits, management of the trade, that's a different side of trading. Obviously, I can give you and show you my plans, but actually know when I'm entering, how I'm managing it, and how I'm dealing with it live and direct. That's what is saved for the private group, the private community. So if you do want to see or know more about how I'm managing these trades and how I execute it, because obviously risk management is the most important thing, then let me know. The links will be down in the description. But last but not least, we have BTC. Crypto right now is looking decent. So with the China stimulus package announcement last week, crypto has been rallying. This will start from the monthly here. So monthly, we've come and taken these lows. So if we see 1, 2, 3 months have wicked this liquidity area here, and now we're finally bouncing and breaking above. The monthly candle will close in a day. Should this close above this previous candle here as well, likely that we now continue higher. So I am leaning bullish again on Bitcoin. Excuse me. On the daily, we've seen a clean uptrend. Candles taking lows, breaking higher. I'm looking for something like this on BTC. Whether we go to the previous all-time highs or not, I don't know. Anything can happen, but based on my strategy and based on my bias, I'd rather be looking to be buying Bitcoin around the 64k region. I like how it's looking. Of course, we could simply break through here, take out these lows first, and then really higher. But you accept the risk. Nothing is ever guaranteed with any trade that you take. Some it might work, some it might not work. But if you see your edge, you execute and you just do it. So that's the general bias for myself on Bitcoin. I'll see how it plays out, but I'm very keen on longs from here to see how bias then continues. And if you want further confluence as well, we look at USDT.D, which is the dominance of USDT, mix my words up. And we're seeing that we are also quite bearish on this. This is the inverse of BTC. So if this is dropping, BTC is likely rising. And as we're seeing here, quite a clean trend lower as well. But of course, we are now at weekly lows and we could react from here. Should we do that? I don't know. We'll see. But I will keep updates in terms of how I execute. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if we run it off on the dollar's bearish. It's feeling quite heavy. Lower highs, lower lows. Price is looking like it wants to come and target this previous area here that I've got highlighted. So we'll see how it goes. New week, first week of the month, new quarter, NFP week. There's going to be potentially choppy markets, or they could just be quite clean movements. As long as you manage risk, you'll be perfectly fine. So yeah, this should be a very interesting week. But yeah, that's the forecast. We'll see how it goes. And if you want to keep updated with any trades taken or how it all goes down, join my groups, public and private. So you'll see everything there again. Full transparency, no BS. Just come and see it. And then if you learn something, you do. If you don't, so be it. But yeah, cool. Let's all have a great week.